am a dietitian and I need weight loss surgery. And I remember thinking, who in their right mind is going to take me seriously? So I thought for sure I would be judged once I shared I was a dietitian, but I got the opposite response. People started coming to me, messaging me saying, oh my God, you get it. I would so much rather come see you. Can you help me? So people very naturally trusted me. And that's, to this day, such an honor and such a huge responsibility that I don't take lightly, because I do understand. I'm Jamie Mills, and this is my LVB success story. My weight was something I always dealt with. Like, I don't remember a time when I didn't struggle with my weight. And it was always so confusing because my sister didn't struggle with her weight, and we ate the same foods and did the same things. And my parents tried to help as much as they could, and my mom always cooked healthy foods, and we were always active in doing things. And it wasn't until I was 14 that I was officially diagnosed with PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, and insulin resistance. And it started to make a lot of sense as to why I struggled with my weight. For anyone who doesn't know, with PCOS, it is a full body endocrine disorder. So it affects your hormonal systems, and it often causes uncontrollable weight gain and inability to lose weight despite best efforts. I was very heavy, especially by the time I got to high school, and I ended up seeing a naturopathic doctor at the time, and we thought that might be a good answer to my struggles. And he ended up putting me on a ketogenic diet at 14. So here I was, freshman in high school, didn't really have a lot of friends, really overweight, trying to be on the volleyball team and make friends, already felt uncomfortable because I was not athletic, I was very heavy, already felt singled out. And my friends would go to McDonald's before practice, or would all eat food together, and I would have my pre-prepped keto meal. That was all I was allowed to eat. So those things were just really hard, and it felt like no matter how hard I tried to lose weight, it only made it worse because I would be restrictive or do what I thought was right. You know, I was a teenager without any nutrition education, and it always just backfired. And then I'd end up gaining more, which I know so many people can relate to. So it was just this vicious cycle. And I finally got to the point where I was in college and I was struggling to walk across campus. Climbing the stairs to get to class was awful. And I remember thinking, I have to do something because I can't keep living like this. The highest number I'd ever seen on the scale was 270, but I'm pretty certain I was closer to the 290s at least at that time. And for reference, I'm somewhere between 5'3" and 5'4". So it was really hard on my body. So I started to go to the gym. I started to consistently try and eat better. And what I did that was really helpful at the time is I told myself, I'm not doing a diet. There are no rules. The only kind of rule I gave myself was I'm just going to keep a food journal. I'm just going to write my food down. And that helped me be more mindful. I had struggled also with binge eating a lot throughout my early years. So the journaling of the food helped with that also. So through that year, I had lost about 70 pounds and I was feeling really great. But then what started off as really healthy habits turned into very obsessive habits. I was so fearful of gaining the weight back and so fearful of going backwards and getting back to that spot I was in that I became overly restrictive, to the point where I knew I ended up needing to get some help and go to therapy. Just the disordered eating struggle was really real. And it was at that point I remember thinking, I don't want other people to struggle like this. I want to help other people, not just with their weight, but how to lose weight healthfully if they'd want to without going down the disordered eating rabbit hole that I did. And at that point, I ended up switching my major. I decided to go to school to be a registered dietitian, and I really learned about true health and wellness and nutrition, not just what social media tells you or not just what's the newest fad. Like, I learned about actual nutrition knowledge. And it's wild because as I started to learn more and really implement healthy habits and continue to get the help and support and therapy that I needed, I did gain all of that weight back. And it was really frustrating because that was my biggest fear, right? It was really hard, but I also knew that going back to restrictive ways wasn't the answer. And I remember thinking, this is beyond me. This is not a me not trying hard enough thing. This is not a me, being lazy thing. I am doing all the things, and I know this time I'm doing them right or to the best of my ability because I have the education now. So as I was going into my dietetic internship, which is the most hectic year of clinical rotations, I ended up having bariatric surgery. I wasn't necessarily happy about the decision. I felt like it was the only decision. And it was very isolating, especially being in a dietetic internship, and not to be stereotypical, but most of my internship was very thin women who did not struggle with their weight in the ways that I did. or at least not that I knew of. And I didn't know anyone in my whole life who had ever had weight loss surgery, not one person. So it was scary. It was overwhelming. And I told myself, Jamie, if you can lose the weight you want to lose in the 6 months, if you can get it together and actually lose the weight, then you can cancel your surgery date. It was almost like my own ultimatum to like my last like hurrah at trying to do it without surgery. And I came up on surgery time and I actually gained some weight in that process, despite following everything. And I was like, I need this. I need this now. And it's funny because there's a lot of stigmas around surgery. And I was one of those people that prior kind of stigmatized it myself. And I think it's important to admit that, because when I was in my disordered eating phase, or when I was losing weight naturally, I remember thinking that weight loss surgery was cheating or some kind of easy cop-out. And I had to really sit with that and reflect on that and realize that I was wrong, and realize that obesity truly is a disease and that you deserve treatment and you deserve to get the help. And sometimes you can try so hard and it still might not be the outcome that you're looking for. Most people only see what's on the surface, which is what they're looking at, which is your weight. They don't see what's underneath and they don't see the nuances. So it's easy to say, well, just eat less and move more. But when you're someone who has insulin resistance, has never felt that sensation of fullness, has anxiety, depression, ADHD, and don't have proper coping mechanisms for any of those things and don't realize what's going on, it's really hard to accomplish that. I wish I had accepted the help before I was at my wit's end. I wish I had chosen surgery sooner, because it could have helped me so much sooner, and I was stubborn and I was resistant to it. One of the things that really kind of changed the game for me was I was active on social media. I started making some friends on there, started following some people, and this girl that I had followed for a long time was hosting a local weight loss surgery meetup, and it ended up being the most beautiful experience. All the girls that I sat with were so great and so welcoming and so comforting and so inspiring to me, sharing, you know, how well they had done and giving me tips. And I really, truly believe that going to that meetup changed the trajectory of my journey. I felt more ready to share with people because I was no longer scared of surgery. I knew that it was the right decision. I felt confident in my choice. I was ready to own that choice and share what I knew with the rest of the world. There wasn't a lot of support in terms of, okay, I know my binder that I have with my diet says to do this, but how do I actually make that realistic so it's not just another short-term thing for me? How do I make these long-term habit changes? And that was super important to me, and I started sharing more of how I was doing that and how I felt it would be beneficial for other patients to do that on social media. And I felt like being a dietitian who had surgery, I could see the clinical side, I could understand the nutrition recommendations, I understood the risks associated with not following a post-op diet, all the things. But then I understood the realities of taking that binder and going home and doing it, and the barriers that you face sometimes, and the emotional struggles that you face, and the mindset work that needs to be done, because that is huge. Like, I cannot stress that enough. The mindset work is absolutely critical. So instead of, I have to go work out today, maybe it's, I get to work out today. Or, oh, I only lost 2 pounds this week. No, you already lost 2 pounds this week. That's amazing. You're the only one stopping you from getting to where you want to go. And as soon as you can move out of your own way and you realize that you can accomplish anything, it opens up so many more doors. People, once they realized I was a dietitian, started saying, oh my God, Jamie, can you help me? And that was the opposite of the response I was expecting. So I ended up creating a membership program. We ended up naming the membership The Real Insights of Bariatric Eating, which is now the acronym The Tribe. It's a combination of self-paced modules where people can come and get the same lessons I teach my one-on-one clients, but virtually. We now have over 40 support groups every month, and we have other tribe leaders. So I'm not the only one leading anymore. We have other dietitians and therapists and psychologists and physical therapists who have had surgery who lead very specific topics. We've got pre-op support groups, regain support groups. We even have neurodivergent habit planning skills support groups for people with ADHD. So we have very specific niched topics. It really is the one-stop shop for everything that you could need on your bariatric journey. And when I built it, I truly, truly came from a place of what did I need on my journey that I didn't have. So really trying to get something for everyone, to know that you're not alone and that we have a supportive space for you, where you can come and have community and meet one another and get the actual credentialed support. One of the things I'm really passionate about is openly sharing on my Instagram page the things that I still love. Because surgery doesn't have to be the end to the things you love. It should amplify what you love. For me, I love Disney. I'm a Disney girl. Disney is my thing. I am a Disney adult. I experience the best non-scale victories ever when I'm there, and I can walk all day and not be tired, and I can go on all the rides and not worry I'm not gonna fit, and I can feel confident in my food choices. I can walk into the shops and pick out a Disney sweatshirt and actually have it fit. So these are the things that people don't always think about, but I feel like surgery truly gave me the life I always wanted. And I feel like for the first time over the last few years, I had surgery 5 years ago now, but I'm still learning who I've always wanted to be and coming out of my shell. And that's why, you know, dyed my hair pink and I got the tattoos I always wanted, and I feel like it's okay to be seen now, whereas before I was so afraid to be seen and so afraid of being judged. But I think with the community I've surrounded myself with and have built and the people that I'm with, we don't judge. We hold space for each other in all capacity and support one another unconditionally, and that has allowed me the freedom, having their support, to be who I've always wanted to be. And I think it's so important to realize that surgery is going to change your life in so many more ways than just weight loss. It reminds me a little bit of like Wizard of Oz. Like after you have surgery, you know, she had the ruby slippers the whole time. She could have gone home the whole time, and that's how I feel about surgery. This journey, I had the ability to believe in myself the whole time, but I needed this tool to do it. And I needed this tool to be able to have the life I always wanted and dreamed of for myself.
If your health is important, we have the answer. Las Vegas Bariatrics.